Believe me or not, today in La Continassa something totally crazy happened. No, it's not what you believe. But Simon Colinet was yelling at a player. I will explain you that in a second. We'll come back on the words of Kefren Turam and Thiago Motta in press conference. Were there a lot of shocking revelations? The lineup that has been disclosed? No. But Thiago Motta explained one thing that is extremely important. His philosophy, what he believes in at 200%, and actually how he's choosing the lineup for the day after. Pay attention to some links. And then we will speak about a player that is back, Douglas Luiz. We'll speak about a possible important player that will stay out of the game for tomorrow. And I'm sure that you will not be happy, but that's how I feel it. This is what can possibly happen. Attenzione. Put a maximum of like. If you didn't yet, please continue to subscribe. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. Before starting with that, I'm sure that you already put the maximum of like. I'm sure that you already subscribed to the channel. Let me tell you that I'm pissed off. Now I'm pissed off. You know why? I was watching Parma, Genoa. You know why? Parma lost against Genoa 1-0 in their home. Genoa, they even had the luxury to play a few minutes at the end of the game. Mario Balotelli, that is back in Serie A in 6 minutes. It was enough for him to be booked, yellow card. But no, because I'm thinking again about that draw 2-2 against Juve, Parma. We have the thing to throw away these stupid points that at the end of the season, it cost us a lot. Should never have drawn against Parma. We should have won that game, so I'm pissed off also because, you know, these small teams, we know it already. It's like that since ever. They give not 100, 200. They give 1000% when they are playing against Juve. And then the day after, the games after, they are losing because they give all their energy. We need to be prepared for this kind of thing. So I'm pissed off about that. Anyway, let's go back to the important things, to the actuality, to the Champions League, because that's super, super important. Okay, what do we start with? Simon Colinet, La Continassa, something? No. Let's start with the press conference. You will have to wait a bit more. Anyway, Kefren Turam, he didn't speak a lot. He spoke in French, not in Italian. He didn't speak a lot. There were not a lot of questions to him. He answered the question about his father and his brother. Yes, indeed, they called him. What about the beautiful words from Papa Lilian to him? He said, that means that you don't know my father. Usually my father, when he calls me, it's to tell him tell me where I need to improve. So just to explain you a bit that relationship, father-son, before the compliment, before the bravo, the congratulation about the, we can say goal. We can say the goal that he scored, even if it was not his name on the score sheet. What else did he say? Well, that indeed, all the players in the midfield, they have different qualities. What he has that other players maybe have a bit less or whatever is the fact that he can really carry the ball. And this is what Thiago Motta is asking him. But pay attention, always keeping in mind to be balanced. And that's already the first clue that I'm telling you from Thiago Motta. Balance. This is an obsession from Thiago Motta. He always, when he speaks about football, he will always start defensive, offensive. Not starting with defense and remaining with defensive phase. Not starting with offensive phase and remaining with offensive phase. Is always a few words apart, mentioning both of the words. Defensive phase, offensive phase, positive, negative transition, pay attention to this, to that, but always that balance. And Kefren Turam, that word balance entered his mind and his spirit. What about Pogba? He said, no, I am not Paul Pogba. We are not the same. There is only one Paul Pogba. They cannot be two Paul Pogba. I try to be the best version of myself. And that's already what I'm the most happy about. If he can be the best version of Kefren Turam, super happy. That was it actually for Kefren Turam. What about Thiago Motta? Spoke about Douglas Luiz. Yes, he can be there, and yes, he can play, because that was the question of the journalists, because we saw him this morning training with the rest of the team. We saw that he was in the squad list, and the journalist said, is he also able to play or just for the vibes? Oh, guys, just for the vibes. No, that's impossible. Just for the vibes, you know when it can happen? When we are playing at home. When the player doesn't need to travel, when he's there instead of staying at home, you know, he can be possibly there on the bench, watching the game, feeling the stadium. Why not? A player that is not ready to play, he doesn't travel. Even if Torino, Lille, it's not that far, but anyway, you still need to take the plane. So yes, he's ready to play. He said it. He can start. He can potentially enter. He can stay on the bench. And you remember 2 weeks ago, he said exactly the same about Teun Koopmeiners that entered in that second half. Do I expect Douglas to enter? Depends of the game. Depends of the moment, depends what the result will be. If we will need him or not, if the team is doing well, then he can possibly enter. Otherwise, no. Dusan Vlahovic, he said again, because there's always that obsession that Dusan Vlahovic needs to rest. I said it this morning, I will repeat you again. Why? Why are we obsessed that he needs to rest? The guy, you can debate about, is he good, is he bad, is he in a top moment of scoring goals, or is he missing goals? But the guy is absolutely not tired. And this is what Thiago Motta also said. He's feeling extremely well since the beginning of the season. And then he said about him that he still needs to continue to give that little extra for the team. And that's where we arrive probably to the most important part of the video, the philosophy of Thiago Motta. What was the question? The question was, with all the starters that you have in your team, and the fact that every time you have other starters, is it not a risk to not have a strong starting 11, a really well-known starting 11? And that's where he said it could be. That's my way of doing it. It depends the perspective that you are watching at it, and I totally agree with him. He said, I don't see it that way, according to me. I have a philosophy and I believe in it 200%. We decide like this. It's a big work because we are evaluating every single player. Pay attention because that's important. Huh? He said, it's important because it's a big work. We are watching the condition of the players. We are watching the condition of the team. Who feels better and who can link up with another. That makes that the team is working better in that moment against that particular team. Work during the week in and off the field in the context of the next game. What is he saying there? He's telling us that before choosing, because there is no starting 11, the best players, they are the 11 that will play against the next team. No, he's watching every single detail, and he's also mentioning, underlining how big of a work it is to understand how individually they are feeling, how collectively they are feeling, and it's not because you are the most informed and you are actually the whatever you want that you are playing. It depends also how the other one is feeling. Because I'm just saying, we have a partnership in mind for that specific game, and that partnership could be Wea with Cambiaso. I'm just saying something like that. If Wea is in top form and Cambiaso not, maybe we'll change both of them, playing with two other players, because that link-up will possibly not work. So he's always watching individually team, but also the link-up between two players. Could be two players in the midfield, could be two players in the center backs, could be whatever. Always paying attention to that. And that's how we will analyze, getting to know Thiago Motta better to understand how we will play, depending also about the opponent that you will play and face the day after. That's the philosophy of Thiago, that he's believing it a lot. And we start to understand, we start to study him, we start to understand how he's thinking. That's super important. I will not tell you who is reminding me, otherwise you will close the video. Anyway, we go through to the other thing that he said. All the games are important. At Juventus, we want to win all the games. I love. It's something, common that you're... When I hear it, I love it. What else did he say? How long before Juventus at the same level, the top level of the European big teams? He said, I understand perfectly the question that you are asking. It makes totally sense, but I will tell you that tomorrow we play against Lille, and this is the only objective that we have at the moment. Again, explaining what he said in the beginning of the season, step by step by step, game by game by game. I understand perfectly that Juventus and the Tifosi and everyone is expecting Juve to be again at the top as fast as possible there. Maybe we are ready, maybe we are not, but we don't care at the moment. At the moment, this is the objective to be able to compete against whatever team that we are facing. And tomorrow it's Lille. So let's be at the level of Lille and hopefully also a bit better than Lille so that we can win the game of tomorrow. These are the explanation of Thiago Motta. What about... and then there was a last question that made me really smile, because there was a journalist that was asking him, you won with that team, you won with that team, you were world champion with Italy. And he said, no, I was not world champion with Italy. I didn't win the World Cup with Italy. Unfortunately for him, because of course he never won the World Cup, which is a pity, because I like Thiago Motta. Back then, that's another story. Anyway, he spoke about the training the sons of Wea, George and Lilian Thuram. He said, look, to me, it's not the son of... There are two players we have in our team. They are really good. what I really love from them is the behavior and the passion that they are showing every single day in all the daily activities that are part of the job, which is the most important aspect. They are already strong. I'm happy to have them, and they can become even better if they continue to work that way. Oh, that was the press conference. So I told you, and not a lot of things, not a lot of revelation. We still don't know who will play or not. But anyway, he told us that philosophy. And I finished with the last part about the lineup, the possible doubts. First of all, who will play tomorrow, Di Gregorio or Perin? I think that if we go towards the plans, Di Gregorio should have rested against Udinese and playing against Lille. But because the performance of Di Gregorio was not that good against Parma, I think that Thiago, he wanted to play him again to give him some certainties against Udinese, which he did because he did a really beautiful game with some saves there. And I think that he will play tomorrow in Champions League, and Perin, we can see him or against Torino or after the international break. And that's about Di Gregorio, Perin. Then pay attention, the defense. Danilo is out. Red card, do you remember? So he cannot play tomorrow. He's not there against Lille. But we have no other choices. With Danilo and Bremer out, there are no other center backs than Gatti Kalulu that will start tomorrow. That's a certainty already. We know already the pair of center backs. But who can play in that position if something is happening? If we need a changer, Cabal and Savona. That's why I think that or Cabal or Savona will be on the bench. One of them will be on the bench. You never know if you need him or not. So Cabal could play on the left with Cambiaso on the right, with Savona possibly entering instead of Gatti or Kalulu if we need him, not obliged, because center backs we don't change that much. Or Savona on the right, Cambiaso on the left with Kalulu and Gatti in the center with Cabal ready to enter as a center back on the left. Let's see. That's already one doubt. I will tell you about the biggest doubt, the shocking one, where you will not be happy about. Tomorrow, Wea will play. According to me, that's a feeling. I have no inside information. Tomorrow, according to me, Wea plays. I don't know if he plays on the left with Conceicao on the right, Yildiz on the bench, or he plays on the right with Yildiz on the left, like we played against Parma, for example. Udinese with Conceicao on the bench, ready to enter. Tomorrow, I think that the certainties that we have are Gatti, Kalulu, Wea. I think that Wea will play tomorrow. And then we have another player that I already told you. Did I tell you about Colinet? No, I didn't tell you. Weston McKennie will play tomorrow. No, Weston McKennie, I didn't tell you. Sorry. Weston McKennie, in training session this morning, à la Continassa, Colinet was screaming and yelling at him. You know why? Because 15 minutes open for the journalists, they were running from one side of the field to the other side of the field. Boom, 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 boom. You know, tranquillo, tempo, to warm up. At a certain moment, Weston McKennie starts to be impatient. He starts to run faster and to pass by all the players, being first and going at the velocity that it was much more than all the other ones, where Simon Colinet, from the distance, he started to scream, Wes, calma, 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 which is totally different as the non c'è più riposo, there is no rest anymore. So Simon Colinet calming down Weston McKennie is something, it's the metaverse, you know? It's really the metaverse. It's really crazy. But really funny story. Really, really funny story. Hopefully you are still there because I totally forgot to explain you. But that shows also that Weston McKennie, he knows that the training session is extremely important for Thiago Motta. That if he wants to play, he needs to show every single day. He's feeling really well. He's feeling important. He's feeling involved into that team. And he also knows that there were 3 games in Champions League. He played all of them from the start. So tomorrow I think that Weston McKennie will play. Koopmeiners will play. You know what's the doubt? The doubt is between who will be the third one. Will it be Locatelli, that played one from the start in Champions League, the other ones he didn't play from the start? Will it be Fagioli? Will it be Kefren Thuram that was today in press conference? But there is one slot, because I can tell you that Thuram, Locatelli or Fagioli, they will have to fight for a spot next to Weston McKennie and Teun Koopmeiners. Let's see. Douglas Luiz, I'm not counting him with the starters. So let's see. Then Vlahovic will play. That was it for the press conference. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we'll go into the tactics. What do we need to pay attention for Lille? And then we go towards the evening with the pre-game, the watch-along, and the post-game. Hopefully we win. Grazie, forza. Juve.